Something that was kind of a flash in the pan for a hot second a couple of weeks ago before Strixhaven released was Valki along with Release the Winds after Kaldheim happened. So how this works is you can play Valki on 2, take a peekaboo at your opponent's hand, and then on turn 3, you can use Release the Winds to exile your Valki, and then you get to play it for free, which lets you play Tibalt Cosmic Imposter on the 3rd turn of the game. So this is a 1-2 card combo to, on the 3rd turn of the game, have a Tibalt Cosmic Imposter, which is very good in the fair matchups. This deck goes a step further past this in order to set up a 3-card infinite loop kill you combo with Release the Winds as well. So we've got 4 copies of Lutri Spellchaser here, which is a companion, but you can also just play it in your deck. And Lutri says, when this enters the battlefield, you may copy a spell you have on the stack. You may choose new targets for that copy. So how we infinite combo is, with Slitherwisp in play, you put Release the Winds on the stack, targeting anything, and then you cast Lutri, which triggers Slitherwisp. Then your Lutri copies Release the Winds, which targets Lutri with the copy. Lutri gets exiled from the copy. Then you can cast Lutri again for free from exile, triggering Slitherwisp again, which then copies Release the Winds that's on the stack, making another copy, exiling your Lutri, and letting you repeat this loop, draining them with Slitherwisp as you go. Now, Slitherwisp is a payoff that lets us, rewards us for playing flash creatures. So we've got kind of that rogue sub-package here as decent flash creatures. We've got some Brazen Borrowers as well. So kind of a cute, little bit interactive value, get a Planeswalker into play while also having a 3-card infinite loop here. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see how it goes. You risk decking, no? Only if your opponent has more life than you have cards in your deck. No, Dead Guy Ale is a black-white mid-range deck. Look at that chat. Easy. Opponent kept a banned hand with no green mana. Wow, what a professional. Discard spells are so tilting, chat. This is where the magic happens, chat. Opponent kept blue with no 3rd land in their 3-color deck. Hit green right away. We kept a 2-lander and have made it to turn 4 without making another land drop. And they actually just curved out perfects. Oh, magic. Alright. Disputes, Negate. Feels Grixis, man. You want to cut a Valki? Nah, I think turn 3 Tibalt sounds great against their controlling deck. Turn 3 Valki does require 3 lands. I mean, to be fair, like, you're only about a coin flip to hit your 3rd land, keeping a 2-lander like that. On the play, especially. You're like a little less than 50%. I could do the Hyper Geo. I think we're only on 24 lands in this deck, so the Hyper Geo says 53, 22, sample size 2. We're looking for 1 success. Am I a liar? I'm a liar. Oh, that's hit your 4th land as a point flip. You're 66% to your two-thirds of the time you hit your 3rd land on the play. Right, when we were doing what was a coin flip the other day, we were looking at chances to hit 4 on 4. Hit a 3rd land, but it doesn't let us cast our 3-drop. What's the math to the 3rd land on turn 4 on the play? 80%, 81%. Learn how to use a hyper geometric distribution calculator, chat. You'll be a better Magic player. There's a reasoning behind 61 card Dark Depths, because whoever built the deck decided they didn't want to be an adult. How about 63 card Geeky card? Yeah. The person that built that deck decided they didn't want to be an adult. My statement stands. I'm not biased yet. I can admit when past Jeff was wrong. I would put forward the argument though that 63 card main deck, 12 card sideboard is strictly more correct than a 61 card main deck. When you have tutors involved.
If you wish to surrender now.
What's the argument for that? So when you have a deck that has a toolbox in it, such as something like Chord of Calling, having more cards in your deck that you can tutor up to win you, basically the probability is, okay, having this extra card to search up in my main deck in key matchups is going to win me more game 1s than it's going to lose me from the equity of having more cards in my deck. Have anything that draws cards, right? I guess this technically draws cards. Yeah, I should probably kill an Urset. Thought sideboarding was 1 for 1. Sideboarding is not 1 for 1. After sideboarding, your sideboard needs to be 15. Or has to be 15 or less cards, and your main deck has to be 60 or more cards. Those are the rules for sideboarding in Magic. A 15-month Spawn Gripper. Hope your personal day's going well. Yeah, sideboarding used to be 1 for 1. It hasn't been 1 for 1 for some time. I think we just fart the Valki, right? And like look for a counterspell. Yeah, that interaction there is why I think actual rogues is one of the best decks in this format right now. Memory Lapse is basically better counterspell. No, I wanted to attack for 2, Wargy. Nailed it. GG. That's a bingo. I'm curious to see if the Lutri combo happens at all during this set. Valki flipping off Release the Winds is something we'll probably do plenty. That's just a 2-card 1/2 5 mana punch. Release the Winds has 2 uses in this deck. You can flip Valki over like we did there. It also infinite combos with Lutri and Slitherwisp. Oh, is the calculator in that video old? Oh, I think I linked the Stat Trek one. Let me go see what Past Shift did. Maybe the URL changed. Oh wow, yeah, that one's really old. All right, edit video. Let me update it. Here's the current hypergeometric distribution calculator I use. I should probably make a more updated video of this. When's this video from? 2016. Ah, the before times. Ah, the before times. No, the YouTube URL is still the same. It's just, I linked a different video. 2.5 years ago, a buddy told me about a guy that plays dumb decks on Moto. No regrets. Thanks for the tier 3 and for the 2.5 years, Druckenstern. Welcome back. Jwari Disruption, looking pretty good here. Opponent kindly starting to fill up the bin for our Drown in the Loch here. It's Modo, M-O-D-O. Calling it Modo. Lets you know who the Magic Zoomers are and who's been playing Modo for a long time. Modo, M-O-D-O, stands for Magic Online with Digital Objects. Look at that, chat. Soaring Thought-Thief. So nice, we drew it twice. Real boomers remember Magic Battlegrounds. Magic Battlegrounds remains to this day the best piece of Magic software ever created, chat. Right, the crisis was averted, Rocky. All is well. Do I attack into a shark here? I feel like I don't. I'm gonna be a coward for a turn. I'm scared, chat. There's fear in my dojo. What about Magic Legend? You just have one ASMR phrase before you get timed out.
Want me to lean in real close and talk dirty to you like this?
Chat! Chat! They said it couldn't be done, chat! They said it couldn't be done! That's so sad! No, come back, opponent! All the pieces of my machine came together. I had my earbuds in, that physically hurt. Oh shit. They would deny us the sweetness of getting to do our thing. That's a great. Blood Crypt helping cast Lutri off a black source, which is nice. I think our Valky's about to meet a shocking end, chat. Release infinitely bounces Lutri. Yeah, Slitherwisp kills them. While you do that every time you cast it, Slitherwisp triggers. And you get to deal damage to equal the number of cards in your deck. Pleased. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. You are correct though that Lutri with Release the Winds on its own is just to do nothing. It generates storm count, chat. We have not played Simic Ascendancy, no. Probably get to that tomorrow morning to start. This is only turn 3, right? So if they ditch a Phoenix here, they can't put it into place. This is fine. Well, and tendrils wouldn't be as good as Slitherwisp because tendrils requires you to have mana to play it that turn. So you need mana for release, Lutri, and tendrils all in one turn, which is 10 mana. Yeah. So Slitherwisp is kind of like something that pays us off for casting our spell that we can play up front. And it's just like an okay card, right? Like here, we're going to be able to like play another Slitherwisp and trigger this, and we're just like playing this kind of tempo-y fair game plan in the meantime. Hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Pump Fist. Good to have you around. All right, but like, what if we didn't do this? This card is so rude, chat. It's so rude. Maybe I'm supposed to play the other Slitherwisp ahead of time there, so I get to draw an extra card with this. Very, very possible. Yeah, everything's cool, Pluto. Well, we technically have lethal, huh? Deck for 9, and then this triggers these twice. What's going on, Z-Man? I'm learning my midstream break today is teaching me how many people don't have notifications on of any sort. I was only gone like half an hour, folks. But we've been live again for almost 90 minutes. A couple of cages in here. Dispute's probably good. Can stop some of their counters. They're crackling drakes. They might have what's it called? The Sprite Dragon. You can turn on notifications inside of Twitch too. Like if you don't want an email from Twitch, but you leave Twitch open in your browser, you can set Twitch up to pop up a thing in the top right corner of the browser when someone goes on. Also, if you're a sub and you're in the Discord server, there's roles in there. If you look in the announcements channel, I tag an arena live every morning, every time I go live. And my Discord server is set up well, chat, and people can't at everyone tag and stuff like that. Even I don't at everyone tag. I think the only time I at everyone tag is usually once a month for the sub survey. All right, what do I want to board out here? Brazen Borrower seems kind of mediocre. Bouncing their stuff doesn't seem super exciting, especially the Crackling Drake drawing a card. I guess it blocks okay, but it only has 3 power. This could be fine. Tempoing Drake with this is okay. Stopping their what's it called? Their finale is kind of decent tempo as well. I don't really have anything I love trimming though. Is Winota up to date? If not, when do you think? I'm hoping to get to the standard decks at the end of the week, Z-Man. Maybe on Thursday or Friday. Normally with the higher price, decks get played quicker, but set release is always just kind of crazy. So like, I've got a backlog of about 15 decks right now. I'm doing about 4 to 5 decks per day. Yeah, Winota got a new toy in Standard. There's a 4-cost human that gives attacking creatures double strike that's really good. Turn 1 Sulfur Falls, Brainstorm before they play a second land. I smell blood in the water. Buddy! Papi. Pizza! Thank you for the 30 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Well, what else to do here? Are we the baddies? I don't know. So, like, I think there's probably an argument to be made. That we're the baddies still here because, like, I think Rogues is arguably the best deck in this format. I think we're gonna need some more tournament results to shake out to, like, have that be objectively shown. But my money's on stock Rogues being the best deck in the format, and this deck's like a variation of that. Do you have a 1-mana way to kill my Grafdigger's Cage? Suck. Nobody's playing Containment Priest. I don't know that I agree. That I would call Containment Priest surprisingly good. Release the Winds, Lutri, and Slitherwisp combo to kill the opponent. Good night. It's Coco, Phoenix, Goblins, and some others. Yeah, but like a lot of those decks, like killing a 2/2 is pretty trivial. Is the problem. And the other thing is, like, when you stop and think about the types of decks that could play that effect, a lot of them play cards that are impacted by it. Like, that's a symmetrical effect. Oh no, is this a removal spell? This is a removal spell we get got. I don't think we're supposed to play around it here. If this flips over, we're so far ahead. It could be a counter spell too, like a Spell Pierce or a Dispute or something. Get both of them there. It's unfortunate. I think we're dead, shit. It's a very, very good dispute draw there. I think we're not supposed to play around that, but yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I'm happy with how we boarded. Let's just like not get peeled on 3 turns in a row. If Rogues is the best deck, do you think that's a healthy best deck or not? No, I think if Rogues is the best deck, the format's going to be incredibly toxic. I also think that formats like Historic tend to be pretty varied regardless. So like even if Rogues is the best deck, I think the latter will probably still be pretty varied on average, because formats like Historic tend to have a more casual feel where people have decks that they like playing and they mostly play what they like. Rogues is super miserable. I agree. Rogues is like mono blue, only their counterspell is also a Doomblade, which is like Drown in the Loch. Believe it or not, the Eldraine card from Rogues is really good. This is gonna come as a surprise to you at home, I know, but the Eldraine card is excellent. How good is the new Rogue deck against stuff like Burn and Anger? I think pretty reasonable. It has a lot of good tools. Yeah, Memory Lapse is a huge pickup for this archetype. Well, at least the glass half full on Rogues is that Rogues in Historic is largely not playing Crab. They're playing more interaction, so like they're basically just having the mill sub-theme just to enable Drown in the Loch for the most part, and the payoffs on Thieves Guild Enforcer and stuff. Rogues, someone, I think your conversation thread of why trying to figure out why Rogues is so tilting. It's because Rogues, as a fundamental archetype, lives and dies by making sure your opponent's game actions don't matter. When the Rogues deck is working, your opponent basically doesn't have any plays that can impact the outcome of the game. Rogues is a good example of a deck that's interactive to the point of feeling toxic to play against, because too much interaction is a bad thing. If all your opponent does is interact with everything you do, it doesn't matter what you play or how you sequence, because none of your stuff is gonna resolve. Yeah, like a lot of Magic players very incorrectly, in my opinion, use interactive to mean good or bad, when like Rogues is a great example of like this deck that's super interactive, but it still doesn't create great play patterns because it doesn't allow counter player agency through its interaction. I think discussing player agency. And I actually, so the mono blue deck, I think, is actually it's easy to draw comparisons to the mono blue deck and show why Rogues, I think, is more toxic than mono blue. And the reason why I think it's very easy to say Rogues is more toxic than mono blue is because of their hard removal. People that remember playing against mono blue, your decisions often really matter. Like, there were some games that they run you over, but that's Magic in general. But against mono blue, you were often presented with sequencing decisions where if you could sneak a threat through, you could win the game through sequencing in a way that lets you resolve a threat. But Rogues has a lot of the same things that mono blue does, only it also gets to play removal spells, right? Like, their Wizard's Retort is also Doomblade in Drown in the Loch. Oh, I should have left black up for this probably, right? I guess if I play this tap next turn, I can go Slitherwisp into Enforcer, and that's fine. We're just gonna go ahead and resolve this while they're tapped out. Means if they kill this, I can still draw a card. I wonder, for a while I was wondering, I was on the fence of Snapcaster Mage being too good, but I honestly wonder if we could get Snapcaster Mage and things like Liliana and stuff into this format now at this point. Feels like that could be a real consideration. I guess we want to do this so we draw a card before this happens. Honestly, I wonder, something that I think might be a good opportunity is with when we do the Innistrad remaster, I wonder if we could see them perhaps include cards from the original Innistrad in that. If we take this out back and drown it in the Loch, these Thieves Guild Enforcers race here. I just don't think cards like Bolt or Swords... So, what's the best way to put it? I think one of the reasons why Historic is sweet right now is Wizards, in my opinion, has done a good job of making sure they're adding sweet and varied threats to the format and are explicitly not adding a bunch of busted answers. In fact, Memory Lapse stands out to me as probably one of the most powerful answers they've added to the format at this point. And it's a little bit of a deviation from what we've seen otherwise that they've done so far. Alright, so we need to spike another Drown in the Loch here. Everybody take this off the table. That milling them is actually a real plan here. Kind of just helping them get to Phoenixes. Well, technically not dead on board. Dead to a Stiff Breeze, though. Sawyer, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this afternoon. Goblin Charbelcher. Sure, that one's probably fine. That'll be big. Stiff Breeze confirmed, blown over. Yeah, honestly, Deccan Stone or what's the one we just saw? The new black removal spell out of the most recent set, Strixhaven, feels like a better designed, a more reasonable Swords to Plowshares, the one that costs 4 or 2 and they draw a card. Like that type of effect, I think is a better Baleful. I think Baleful Mastery is like an appropriate power level for a pretty flexible answer. Hey, Vulgar. Thanks for the tier 1 sub. Welcome to the channel. Like some green-black mid-range here, it looks like. Take that one out back and Drown in the Loch, I suppose. I think if they added Delver to Historic, I think Delver would be an incredibly good addition to Historic. I think Delver's kind of a sweet card that people enjoy playing. I think based on the power level of everything else in the format, it'd be a good fit. I think Delver is the perfect candidate for a card to add to Historic because Delver is an iconic card that people like casting. And when you ask me, Jeff, what do you think Historic should be? My answer is, I think Historic should be a format that has a lot of cards people enjoy playing. And it makes that criteria makes Delver a perfect thing to fit into. I just want it to be a format where myself and others can cast sweet cards they like casting from Magic's history. I'm a Jund Boomer, nothing to make me happier than Bob. Sure, yeah, I mean, like, all of these older cards that, like, honestly, like, something like Dark Confidant, I'm not even sure Dark Confidant would be super playable in this format, and I think that would mean it's a great addition. If there's a good chance a sweet iconic Magic card would be fringe playable at best, it should 100% be added to Historic. Like, just all of those cards, Dark Confidant, Huntmaster of the Fells, Delver of Secrets, Goyf, these cards that are just iconic Magic cards that aren't super pushed, but people love casting them so they could build B-list decks with magic cards that they love playing. Yeah, those types of things. Those would be the effects I would love to see prioritized getting added to Historic as a format. All right, so they've got Phyrexian Obliterator. I really don't have good answers to Obliterator here, huh? I technically have Fatal Push, but I don't really have a good way to turn that on. Honestly, I think I'm just clicking Submit here. It could be that I want to board out Thoughtseize and play more cards to play to the board. Maybe that's the case. Maybe like do 2 push, 2 Thoughtseize. Is stock Modern Jund too powerful for Historic? Maybe a card like Renin 6. But most of it's probably fine. And honestly, and here's another thing. This is something I don't hear enough people talk about when they talk about adding cards to Historic, is adding spells to Historic doesn't mean that those spells are going to be too powerful for the format because of the mana base that are available. A lot of people, in my experience, greatly underestimate how much power level you give up when you lose the consistency of having good mana in your decks. Anybody in chat play Jund back when you had to play Jund with Arid Mesa and what were your fetch lands? It was Arid Mesa, Misty Rainforest, Jund, and like even Arid Mesa, Misty Rainforest, Jund, those mana bases from back when we only had 5 fetch lands in Modern, those mana bases are better than what the mana base would be today in Historic. Yeah, Jund before Cons block. Even without the digital aspect making us shuffle, I'm super happy that this format doesn't have fetch lands. Definitely greatly prefer this fetch landless format. I think Hymn's probably too strong. I also think Hymn feels really bad to play against. I also, when I talk about bringing iconic cards into the format, I would in general prefer that they focus on bringing iconic threats as opposed to iconic answers. So I think that there's a big difference between something like, Hymn to Torok as opposed to, now maybe I'm supposed to leave one of these back. We're kind of just like not racing here. I mean, Deathrite Shaman wouldn't even be playable in this format. And again, for people that don't keep up with how Historic's going to work, Wizards has stated they have the goal of getting Pioneer on Arena eventually. So everything that's currently Pioneer legal will eventually be Historic legal. Birthing Pod's an example I've used a lot. Birthing Pod's a card I'd love to see. Vendilion Click. I want to cast some Vendiclicks, chat. Can that be allowed? I think we're just dead to this. I think I shouldn't have attacked with both of these last turn. I should have left one back to block. Alright, I think I want the extra Fatal Push. I'm hoping we can do the Lutri release the wind things at least once in here, but it seemed real clunky so far. Valki release the winds has been fine. That is a 2-card combo. It's like not unreasonable. Dredge is a super toxic mechanic. I prefer things, examples of iconic things I'd prefer stay out of historic are things like Dredge and Tron lands. Well, Vulgar, that's how Modern is anyways, is people trying to go over each other. Also, again, I think people largely underestimate what quality of things you need in what quality of answers that you need in formats where the mana is worse. It's hard. You can't really, like, we don't have, like, objective measurements for that. So it's hard to say exactly, but you're glad there's no Phyrexian mana symbol. So that's actually not true. We got Tezzeret's Gambit in the archives, so there is Phyrexian mana on this platform, just for reference. I also don't think Phyrexian mana is inherently a bad thing. What's a good example? Spellskite is an example of a Phyrexian mana card that's a sweet design. I actually think Dismember is a good example of one that I really dislike. So the Phyrexian mana designs that I dislike are Dismember, and then the one mana Phyrexian spells I think are kind of crappy. Yeah, I actually agree with you, Injured. I think something like Show and Tell would probably be fine. Like, the problem with Show and Tell and Legacy is that, like, all of the Show and Tell decks in Legacy are, they're, what's it called, decks? They're Emrakul Gristlebrand decks, right? I think Geist of Saint Trash would be an excellent addition. Oh, Omniscience is legal in this format. Okay, yeah, I take it back. Yeah, Omniscience is not okay. Geist of Saint Trash is another good example of a great addition to the format. Yeah, Manamorphose is a good example of a messed up card that should never be legal in this format. Please, for the love of God, keep Manamorphose as far away from formats of Magic that I play as possible. Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas. That's actually there are 3 sweet Planeswalkers I'd love to see. Garrick Relentless, Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas, and Kaya Ghost Assassin would all be excellent additions, in my opinion. Mind Sculptor might be a little too pushed. Alright, so I think we're dead, chat. Our inability to trigger Fatal Push is rough. Yeah, I like have to attack with this and then like hope they block and then do this after sacking a bunch of lands. Like, Yes, Fatal Push being awkward is a perfect example of this format versus other formats. Big agree. I think I'm gonna save this for after I Memory Lapse. Well, shit. We are going to get our own devil. Am I? This might be worse than just making our own devil, honestly.
I am Valki, god of so many painful memories. Emotions are so strong. Let's play a little game.
Okay, we're gonna hit our land drops here.
Oh, I just love your energy. So many painful memories.
So many painful memories. We do still have a devil. Memory Lapse Tibalt's kind of funny. Maybe we'll have to. Maybe we should try Grixis Valki again with Memory Lapse. I think Grixis with Crux of Fate and Nicol Bolas is probably pretty good. If they have an untapped land tier, their Goose lets them play Binding. Maybe I'm supposed to hold up Release here instead of playing the Mayhem Devil.
It's borrowed.
If I Jwari Disruption this. Yeah, they have to sack the land early, or the food. Yeah, they still get to kill our devil, but we're gonna get to murder their goose here as well. We can't exile the devil and recast it. Do I want to recast it this turn?
Your emotions are so strong.
So, yeah, holding up Winds has value, and holding up Thieves Guild Drown in the Loch is good. So they could pull one more cat out of their bin, but if I dump 2 cards in there, we can drown them, right? And remember, the way this card is templated with its emblem, we get to cast these cards even if Tibalt dies, which is nice.
Yes, bleed. Oh, that's mine.
Look at me! The food deck! Cage sounds nice. Aether Gust is maybe fine. I think discard spells around. Like, Brazen Borrower is pretty mediocre here, right? They can, like, sacrifice their stuff in response. And it's only got 1 defense, so it dies to what's it called quite frequently? They're Mayhem Devils. We want some Aether Gust. Tempo's binding and their dragon and other things. Seems fine. This can't attack it on the ground. Man, Memory Lapse your spell and then draw it with Valki. Really makes me want to poke it. I'm going to have to draft up some Grixis Valki. It's more controlling. Like, those two work well together. You get to play, what's it called? You get to play, Nicol Bolas with Crux of Fate. A lot of neat things going on there. Alright, well, we technically have our infinite combo here. If we can survive to get to 6 mana. Rude. I assume they're going to take Memory Lapse. Guess they could take Release. Brainstorm works in a way with Valki. Not really. Is that also a Magma Opus deck? Just like 2-card combos deck? Historic is lovely. Right on time, Thoughtseize. I'm supposed to take a peekaboo here. Ooh. Can't take the cat. Gives them a discount casting it. Yeah, Demon Flash is sweet. Are you playing it with the Illuminations, Enya? And the Bone Crusher Giants? Sweet. Yeah, I like that list a lot. Sorry, Top Deck Mayhem Devil. Don't you put that bad mojo on me. Okay, so we have Slitherwisp. Into Slitherwisp, draw a card. We just need one more land, and we need to survive to get there, right? And we can even chump block with the Slitherwisp in the middle. What's the combo? These 3 cards kill our opponent. Right here in our hand. You can't figure it out. Consider this your exercise in shit tier magic combos for the day. I'm gonna cast this now in case we find a Thoughtseize. Hey, Metronome, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. Wouldn't be here without the support of folks like you. Thanks for keeping me around. I think we're gonna get to do it, chat. That's exciting. I'm glad we're gonna get to do it at least once. I'm glad we're gonna get to do it at least once. Don't draw a Thoughtseize. Have a heart. Cast your thing. Yes! There's also combos at instant speed, which is gas. So, Lutri triggers. Lutri copies this. The copy targets Lutri. Lutri exiles from Release the Winds. Then we get to play this for free, which triggers the Slitherwisps. Which comes into play, which copies Release the Winds. Subbed, because I heard the words Teamered Flash. I wanted to shout out your old Rug Flash deck in Standard. It remains my favorite deck I've ever piloted and brought my first positive record at a tournament. Man, the Magic Carpet Ride. Yeva. Yep. Yeva Nature's Herald. Wolfir Avenger was like low-key the best card in that deck. Regeneration is busted. So, you're only limited by how many cards are in your deck, chat. And this really is the world's perfect combo, because we get to draw cards while our opponent simultaneously dies. Is Tainted Twin playing this combo? You know, it's not, but maybe it should be. We're gonna have to discard it into turn, chat. Our hand's too big. Man, we better get Huntmaster back in the fall. That would be great. Plenty of cards, chat. Don't worry, our otter's got plenty of cards to go around. Hey, at least we've got Dub's Slitherwisp in play, so when we're executing this, we get two points per loop. Yeah, Huntmaster of the Fells. This combo technically works with Dualcaster Mage too, right? Dualcaster Mage works like Lutri, it's just red, so it's harder to cast. Yeah, it works with Dualcaster. Honestly, Lutri being a 3/2 is a big difference. You can believe that. It works with Mina as well. All right, we got to accomplish the thing, so I think we're gonna close the chapter on this one. So again, in addition to that wacky 3-card combo you just saw there at the end, you can also release the winds, Tybalt at the end on turn 3 to have a Tybalt Cosmic Imposter right away. Overall, this deck felt a little meh. I would assume that we're kind of just like a worse for more clunky version of Rogues. A majority of our wins in that set were simply being a slightly underpowered version of Rogues. I will say that Memory Lapse alongside Tybalt makes me want to try Grixis Valki, the control build again, because like Memory Lapsing them and then plussing your Tybalt to draw the card that you Memory Lapsed off the top of their deck is like incredibly rude in the right situation. We also got Crux of Fate to try in Grixis, so we're definitely gonna be doing that at some point soon. All right, I think we're gonna do one more today. I took off a couple